So in today's setup guide, we are taking a look at the awesome Final Burn Alpha. So if you've not heard of Final Burn Alpha, it's mainly associated with Neo Geo games, but to be honest, you can play lots of different systems on it these days. So in this setup guide, I'm going to be treating it as a blank canvas, and I'm going to be showing you how to actually include artwork to your games in Final Burn Alpha. I'm also going to be going through some video settings, how to record footage for YouTube videos that you might want to make, and just generally take a look at video settings. It's a truly awesome system, so check this one out. Okay, before I start today's Final Burn Alpha setup guide, just make sure to hit notifications, subscribe and like if you like the video today. It really helps my channel out a great deal, plus it gets you up-to-date retro emulation content as I release it here on my channel, Just Jamie. So we're looking at Final Burn Alpha, and it's not strictly a Neo Geo emulator like I think a lot of people think. It's actually a multi-purpose emulator, so it covers many different systems and Neo Geo is just one of them, but we're going to look into that. So you can find the latest 2018 version of Final Burn Alpha on your favorite web browser. Personally, I found it on Google, and what you're going to end up with quite likely is a archive. So what we're going to do is open up that archive, and this is the contents of what you're going to see. So we got a preset example.zip. The main one we want here is the .exe. That's obviously Final Burn Alpha, and that's going to open up the program. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make this portable. So I'm going to right click on the desktop, go down to new folder, and I'm going to call this one FBA, or you can name it whatever you wish. And I'm going to just drag those few files there into that FBA folder I've just created. And that's it. So that's Final Burn Alpha, and let me just remind you, there's a 32-bit version and a 64-bit version of this program. If you're not sure which one to get, when it's talking about 32 and 64 bits, it's referring to the type of computer you've got, your processor or CPU. If you're unsure, then most computers in the last, say, 10-12 years has been pretty much fitted with a 64-bit processor. But if you're still unsure, you can go to your search bar, type in system information, and under system type, if you're using Windows 11 like myself, it will tell you which type of processor or computer you're running. As we can see, I've got a times 64, which tells me I've got a 64-bit computer. So what we're going to do then is go into FBA folder, which I've just extracted the program into, or the multi-emulator. And first of all, what I'm going to do is just open up FBA64.exe, so double left click. And then you've got some warning signs come up, so just press OK on there. And I understand and agree to be bound by the terms of the above license agreement. OK. And it's going to scan for ROMs. Just press cancel on this bit. And what this is going to do is open up the launcher itself. So what we're going to do is quickly close this one down. And as you can see, in my FBA folder, this has now generated a series of folders. So like I was saying just a minute ago, Final Burn Alpha not just caters for Neo Geo, but as we can see here, we got folders for Game Gear, Mega Drive, or Genesis if you're in certain parts of America. We got MSX, Neo Geo CD, PCE, I believe that's PC Engine, and we got Sega SG-1000, Sega Master System, and TG16, which is TurboGrafx 16 PC Engine then. So what we're focusing on in this video is strictly Neo Geo. So you've got a ROMs folder here, and this is where your Neo Geo ROMs are going to go. So I've got several games here, Neo Geo games, and these are in .zip file extension. If we just drag those inside of that FBA ROMs folder, like I've just done, and what we're going to do next is go back into FBA64.exe, and this time just let it scan ROMs, because we've actually got ROMs in there for it to scan. Okay, so once the scan is completed, you're going to see at the top, no game loaded, and that's fine. So our games are loaded into that ROMs folder, and there's one final thing we do need, and that's a BIOS file. So your BIOS file for running Neo Geo games is literally just one zip. So inside my BIOS folder on my desktop, this is it. This is the BIOS file. You don't need to extract it, but we need to copy it into that ROMs folder where we just dragged in those Neo Geo games. So pop in your Neo Geo.zip BIOS inside with the rest of your games. And this time we're going to open up FBA 64 again. And let's just test games are actually working. So what I'm going to do is go to Game, Load Game. Now, right now, this is how you're going to see your games in a second, but we got Preview window at the top, we've got a Title window at the top, and I'm going to show you how to make these display artwork for our games. So what I'm going to do first is go to ROMs directory, and we got a series of paths just here, and we can put different paths for different systems. Say you want to emulate Mega Drive or Sega Master System. For example, path 1, I'm going to put in my Neo Geo game, so I'm going to go to Browse. And from Browse, my games are on my desktop, and they're in my FBA folder. And of course, we're looking for the ROMs folder where my Neo Geo games are sitting. So okay. Now, say you've got Mega Drive games or Sega Master System games, you can then use Path 2 and browse for your Mega Drive or Genesis directory and just do the same as I just done with Path 1. So that's now loaded in, so okay, and just let it scan ROMs again. Okay, so once that's been scanned, what we're going to do is under options at the top, we can check show available, and that's going to show us all of our available games. So I've got several there, and if we go to show unavailable, it will tell me which games it's missing. So what I'm going to do is just decheck show unavailable and leave show available on. And if we notice under this section, under filters, we can actually filter, say for example, we're looking to play a specific genre of a game, we can uncheck particular genres just here, so it narrows it down. Say you've got thousands and thousands of games, it's going to narrow it down to what you're actually looking for. So that's the way to do that. And you also got a search bar at the bottom, so if you want to type in a game name, it's going to list. So if I go for Final, it's going to come up with nothing because I don't have a game here beginning with Final. But just type in your game and that's how you're going to find your game very easily. Let me just show you again. So Blazing Star, and there we go. I got Blazing Star come up just there. So I'm going to just backspace that so everything's back to normal. And what I'm going to do next is actually quickly boot up a game. So I'm going to just highlight that game and go to play. Okay, so as it stands, I can't play my game because I need to configure my Xbox controller. So I'm going to go to Input at the top and then just go down to Map Game Inputs. And from here, I can then double left click on each one of these just here and then map out my controller. So for example, Player 1 or P1 coin, double left click on it and I'm going to press the select button on my controller. And for start, I'm going to press the start button on my controller, and I'm still in the 1990s. Xbox controller no longer has selecting start buttons, but for older people out there, you know what I'm saying. So we're also going to map out the D-pad and the action buttons. And then once you're done with that, all you need to do is go to Save Preset, and your file is now been saved, so you won't need to go through this process again. So OK, and OK. Anyway, it's a very cool game. So what I'm going to show you next, if we just close out of the game, so game, and I'm going to go to exit game, and that's going to bring us back to this. So if we go back to game again and load game, like I was saying just now, we got a preview window just here and a title window, and we can actually pimp these up, as it were. So what I'm going to do is just cancel out of this, and I'm going to leave the link in my description for the artwork for this. But if we leave open this FBA folder that we've created, in my art folder on my desktop, I've got several different styles of artwork, and you're going to download these in archive format. So like I said, the link's going to be in my description. So what we've got here is flyers, previews, and icons. And I've also got titles somewhere, and we're going to find that in a minute. So what we need to do, in that FBA folder, we need to go to the support folder, and in support folder, we can then go to flyers, and we're going to start with flyers first. So once you've downloaded this artwork, open up your flyers archive, and flyers again, and you're going to find lots of .png images, which is going to represent or actually be the flyers of the games as they were at the time. So that's all now copied into your support and flyers folder. The next one we've got here is going to be previews. So open up previews again, and once that's opened up, go into previews. Now we need to open up the preview folders in that FBA folder that we've created. And what I'm going to do to copy all these at once all together is just highlight one of these by left clicking on it and press Ctrl and A on my keyboard. And we can just press Ctrl and left click on that top folder and just drag everything into that support previews folder there. So this one's going to take a little bit of time. And whilst we're waiting for that, I'm actually going to re-download the titles folder again, because I think I deleted it. So if we just go to this website, like I say, this is where all the artwork is going to be found. What we're going to do is go and find the titles pack. So it's right just here, preview pack titles. If we just left click on this link, that's going to bring us to a French website, as we can see. And from here, I'm going to download preview pack titles. 205 megabyte, and it's likely going to come up as an insecure download, but I've checked this and it's fine. So just keep that and let that just download. And there we go, we've got another archive file, but we're going to just wait for this one to extract into the previews folder. Okay, so once your preview.png images have transferred into your support previews folder, what we're going to do next is we got icons folder. And let me show you what I mean by this before doing it. So if I open up FBA again, FBA64.exe, and if I go to game, load game, if I just click on one of these games now, you'll notice that the preview window has actually got images to go with it. So what we're going to do next, if you take a look at the select game section here, it's bland, but we've actually downloaded some icons to go on the sides of these, and I'm going to show you how to implement these into the program itself. So just close that off here, and we're going to go back into that support folder, and we got a folder here called icons, and I've also got a folder here at archive called icons. So it's going to be the same process again, but we just need to do a couple of settings within the program FBA itself. So open up the icons folder, and again just Control A to highlight everything, and Control and left click on the top folder and drag and drop those .ico files into that icons folder. Okay, so what we're going to do is this time go to MISC, which is obviously miscellaneous, and we're going to go to icons and enable driver icons display. Once you've done that, we're going to go to game, and it's going to take a few seconds just to sort itself out. Okay, so it's back to normal. So we're going to go to game, load game, and now under select game, you can see each game has got icons. And we can also increase the size of those icons. If we just close this down, and this time I'm going to go to MISC again, icons, and icon size. And I can increase this to 32 by 32 pixels. Go to game again, load game, and you'll see that the icons are now a bit more easier to see. So we're still missing the title section just here. So if we close down, cancel and cancel, and I've just re-downloaded the titles pack. So what we're going to do is go back into that support folder, and just remember that all your artwork is going into that support folder in its relevant folder. So this time we're going to look for the titles folder, which is here, and then just open up the titles archive again, and then we got lots of .png file extensions, which is of course image files. So drag these into the titles folder. Okay, so after around 5-10 minutes of extracting those titles into the support titles folder, if we come back out and out again, we're going to go into the FBA application once more. And this time we're going to go to game, we're going to go to load game, and if we just click on one of the games below, we can now see our titles. The pictures, that is, have now appeared in that little window, and that goes for everything. So if you're planning on using FBA for Mega Drive, Sega Master System, and the other systems it covers, the artwork in these packs cater for everything that it supports. So I can't guarantee you that, but that's what I've read. So as we can see, everything here has now got preview and title pictures. So another thing I'm going to make you aware of, we downloaded and we put into a folder earlier on. So if I just pick Aero Fighters 2, if I go to game info, you'll see a series of tabs along the top just here, and this is all your basic information about each game. If we go to the flyer tab, we'll then see the flyers displayed in there. So the few packs which I have showed you what to do with artwork is only really a few sections of other artwork that you can add. So if you want to add anything else, it really is just a case of googling artwork for FB Alpha. It can't be that difficult to find the rest of the artwork to complete this, but from what I see, it looks a lot better, almost like a canvas, a blank canvas that we've painted. So it looks pretty good. So whilst we're here, and finally I'm going to just go through some video settings with you. So what we're going to do, we're going to open up the Aero Fighters 2 game again, so play. So that's our default video settings, and in order to change the video settings to make things look not so pixelated in other bits and pieces, if we just go to video, select Blitzer. Now right now this is on soft FX. As standard this is actually on basic, so by putting this onto soft FX or experimental, you'll get different types of image quality. So let's check out. If we go back to video, if you like scan lines, then under Blitter options we can enable scan lines. And we can also increase or decrease the intensity of those scan lines. So again, go to video, and if we go to Blitter options again, now set scan line intensity, and just here it's currently set to 191. If we push this up or down, you'll get decreased and increased scan lines. So personally, I'm not a major fan of scan lines, but I know a lot of people like that type of thing. So if I just put this back to around 193, and back in the video section just here, we can also use Alt and Enter on our keyboard to turn this into full screen, or just press on the toggle full screen mode. Now, once you're in full screen mode, just remember that it's Alt plus Enter simultaneously to bring you back into Windows mode. And also we got settings here for vertical games, so there's many games in the Neo Geo arcade library that is strictly vertical games, so that option's there if you want. We've also got full screen bit depth, so just now I've got this on 32-bit. If we put the 16-bit, you'll get 16-bit colors come out of this. And if we go down to monitor properties, we've got a selection here of different ratios to use. Now obviously the old school Neo Geo games would have been 4:3 aspect ratio. We can put this to 16:10 or 16:9, but it won't look too right. This is going to look a little bit stretched. So personally, I'd prefer to keep this on automatically detect aspect ratio, or just leave it on 4:3 normal. And through this system, we've also got the ability to record our footage. So say you want to play some gameplay and then upload it to YouTube. If you go to the game option just here, record AVI. And what I'm going to do is just press OK on this. And as you've seen in the top right corner, it said recording. So what we're going to do now is stop this from recording. So game, stop recording. And what we're going to do to play that footage back is to go to emulator. And if we go into the FBA folder again, you've got an AVI folder here, and this is where the footage is. Now I'm using VLC to play back video footage, so double left click and open this with VLC. Obviously that looks a little bit strange because I've been playing around with video settings, but if you use default settings and you play around with it, then you will get video quality on that. And let me show you what I mean. If I go back to game again and I go down to load a game, I'm going to open up Aero Fighters 3 this time. I'm getting sick of Aero Fighters 2. So if I go to game, record AVI, under compressor just here, we got a range of different options how to record this. If I record this in Microsoft Video 1 and I press OK, now if I stop that from recording, I go back into that AVI folder. Here's my second recording. So as you can see, just by playing around with the options there and how to record it, you'll get the perfect footage that you're wanting. And that's it for today's Final Burn Alpha Neo Geo setup, guys. So I tried covering as much as I could in this video, but I don't want to pester everyone all day for a very lengthy video. But I've given you the basics, how to make this look a lot better. As I explained in the video, it's almost like making a blank canvas look really colourful, and that's hopefully what I've done. So anyways, links could be in my description for the artwork which I've used in this video. Just remember the website is French, so just use a translator if you don't speak French. Also hit notification, subscribe and like so you don't miss upcoming retro emulation content. And let me just remind you, I have covered a couple of other standalone emulators for Neo Geo, such as Wincox, which was a really cool emulator. So check that one out, that's in my console emulation playlist. Also join me on social media, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. But until next time, stay retro.
Thank you.